Hello once again. Uh, we are now in verse 4 of our study of the old system of the way to approach God in the Old Testament or the Old Covenant. So, Hebrews chapter 9, verse 4, I will read in English. Uh, the special gold table where they burned incense was inside that room. Okay, we are now in the Holy of Holies. Okay, so the author is actually being acquainted with the high priest. It's actually bringing the incense now, the table of incense in the holy place or in the Holy of Holies. Okay, so a special agreement box had gold over. It was there too. This box contained the gold pot that had special food from God in it. The box also contained Aaron's stick that grow leaves and it contained the two flat stones on which God had written the agreement. Okay, so and Cebuano verse 4 nga may usa ka insensaryo o insinso nga bulawanon og ang arka sa tugod, okay, the Ark of the Covenant, and na hulupan paglibot sa bulawan diin didto ang usa ka tibod nga bulawan nga gisudlan sa mana og ang kang Aron nga sungkod nga nalingsing og ang papan sa tugod. So munay sulod dito sa actually sa box sa Ark of the Covenant. In verse 4, 9 notes din na atong basahon, by the curtain near the special box of the agreement was an altar of gold. In Exodus 30:1-6, on it the priest burned incense every day. Okay, so the special box of the agreement was the large box made of wood with gold all over it. Exodus 25 verse 10-22. In this special box of the agreement were three things. There was a gold jar of the bread of heaven, from heaven, the manna. So manna, it is what is it in Cebuano. In Cebuano, unsa mana. So manna. Exodus chapter 16, if you can imagine Exodus chapter 16, where the people were saying angry to Moses, oh, give us food. And God showered them with manna every morning. Okay, so when the people went through the desert, God fed them. He sent bread each morning for them to collect and eat. God told them to put some into this jar. It was there to remind them of how God cared for them. Look at that. So God would provide everything for His people. And then the second one is that the stick of Aaron that came into flour was there. In Numbers 17, there had been trouble in the camp of Israel, and some people were actually questioning the authority of Moses, Aaron, and the rest of his family. And they were actually, people were actually saying that, who are these leaders? Who are you? You are only people. You are only human beings. So God told them to put a stick for each of his tribe. So each tribal stick would actually be 12 of them in the special tent. Okay, so the next day, the stick of Aaron had flowers and fruit on it. So that is the sign that God had actually accepted Aaron and Moses as their leaders. So it was being chosen by God. So the sign was that it will create a bud or manalingsing in Cebuano, and it also will have a fruit on it, flowers and fruit on it. Okay, grabe kayo. So sungkod na, mamulak o mamunga. So the other sticks weren't just dead sticks. So God showed them that He had chosen Moses and Aaron. God told them to put the stick into the special box of agreement to remind the people how God had led them. Okay, so this is actually a reminder for them the need for them to be reminded of who God is and what He did at the Exodus times, or uh, during their time in the deserts. So also in the special box of the agreement were the stones on which God had written the 10 laws. Remember the 10 laws in a stone, and 2 stone tablets. He had given this to Moses on the mountain in top in Deuteronomy chapter 5. These 10 laws were the rules that the people had to obey. So verse 5, the gold shapes of 2 special angels stood on the top of the agreement box. These special angels showed that God was present there. Under the angel's shadow, on top of the box, was a gold lid or covering. That lid or covering was the place where God forgave the people. That is the mercy seat, where the high priest would enter and then sprinkle the blood of the bull and the blood of the lamb. Was good lid. It's gold made of gold. That lid was the place where God forgave the people, but we cannot explain everything about these things now. Look at that. This is actually the author's prerogative not to explain that further, because it would create 5 books of the Old Testament to explain everything. Sige, so in Cebuano og sa ibabaw ni ini nga kirubin sa himaya nga landong sa halaran sa pagpasig-uli nga mahatungod ni ining mga butanga, dili kita karon magaisgo sa tagsa-tagsa ni ini. So verse 5, in English, there was a figure of the cherub or an angel on which end of the lid or the covering of special box, or the agreement or the covenant box. The cherubs were special angels who were to show that God was there in all this honor. God told Moses to make the figures of gold. They faced each other across the lid of the box. Their wings spread over the box. The lid itself was pure gold. This was the place where the chief priest had to put the blood of the sacrifice for sin. Each year, when he did this, God said that he would forgive the sins of the priest and the people. So it was not the rightest purpose to explain what all these things meant. He wanted to show how much better the real things in heaven are than this. Okay, so the author of the Hebrews is actually explaining that it's not anymore being a purpose to explain all these things in details, because what he wanted to explain is the new and new approach on how to worship God. So dinira sa ako kutob, ako na pong humanon, mubalik na po ko in verse 6 na po. So parang mahuman na ni.